Hello everyone, in today's video from Travisdale-Pickmere Railway, I'm going to show you how to solder your dropper wires on. Unfortunately, I'm recording this at the end of my video, and by the time I realized I hadn't started one of my cameras, it was the end of the video. So let's get right into it and show you how to solder dropper wires. All the content's there. Hope you enjoy it. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon to get alerts. So, got a bit of a problem here. I just did a whole video on how to solder your dropper wires, and I forgot to start one of my cameras. So I'll have to deal with two cameras. One of my cameras just ran out of space, which is wonderful. The other camera is still recording. And I wanted to do a video of the tools you needed, so this is the end of my video, but I'm going to show you what I used at the start. So I've got track here. I've got a lot of wire. I've got some liquid soldering flux, some rosin core solder, some tip thinner, some wire cutters, little needle nose tweezers, a utility knife, and a wire stripper. I also have soldering, like a resoldering station. I've got a ruler out here too. Some denatured alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and I believe that's it. Oh, and some Q-tips for putting it on. Anyway. Thank you for joining me, and hope you enjoy the rest of this video, even though it's a little bit backwards. I've got a resolder station, so I'm going to turn that on, get the start. I've got it set to 350 degrees. My sponge is still wet, so that's good. And I'm going to put the camera up, and we'll see what happens. So I have my track here. It's going to be probably hard to see, but I have marked on a couple places somewhere underneath. It's kind of hard to see. I've got a mark here, and I've got one down at the other end for where to do my joint. So first thing I do is I take my utility knife nice and sharp, move some stuff out of the way, so you get a little bit better view. So what I like to do is come down here and just cut using a sharp utility knife two different sections, one on either side of the track where the factory expansion joints are, flex joints in this flex track. I'll do that on both sides so we can get this out of the way. This one. Here we go. Okay, there we go. All done. So now that's done, I won't need that anymore. Need to do some soldering, and to do that I need to get some wire. So I'm going to get some wire out. The first piece I'm going to use is about 3 feet. I've got some 100-foot rolls here. This is some stuff I bought on Amazon. It's Remington Industries 22 gauge hookup wire, solid. For those, it's approximately, the wire diameter is 0.0253 inches. I'm going to use red and black. I need to go look something up real quick because I haven't memorized it yet, but that is, you need about 3 feet feet of wire for this first section, and I'll need more for the other one. I just want to make sure I've got enough. I'd rather waste it than not. So that's about 3 feet. Okay, tuck that back. Now I've got to remember which side is my red and which is my white. So my red, or my black rather. My red I've decided to do where I've got most of these joints, and my black will be the top. So what I will do is just kind of curl up the black to start with, and I like to put my wire underneath the track. And basically all I do is I take this wire stripper, take a little bit off. I'll do some on this one also. That's the wrong end. Kind of want the good end. I'll probably trim that starter bit off that's comes from the packaging. It's all kind of crinkled. You usually don't have to do that once. It's might be broken from overhandling, etc. So then what I'll do, I can use my regular pliers, but I'll show you with these needle nose. I just like to bend it at a 90-degree angle so it'll fit on the track. Then it's kind of interesting here. Let's take some alcohol and clean this. This is just some isopropyl alcohol. I just want to clean the track area. You can see some of the Sharpie that I put on there is coming off, which is fine. And then what I'm going to do is put some of the soldering flux on. Now, a lot of people say that this can cause, you know, the track to corrode, which it can. But the idea is once you've soldered it on there and got a good solder, come back with some more isopropyl alcohol or denatured alcohol and clean it up. And that's about all there is to it. So we'll see how it goes. I've not actually done it before, so it's going to be a little as far as like historical, so I don't have good information on how long it'll last or if it will actually clean it up, but from what I've read online, that should be perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is take my tip tinner, clean this off. Okay. Get some stuff on there. Okay, now I should have some those little alligator clamp magic hands, but to be honest with you, I have not done a good job finding them. So red is on the bottom here. Put some solder on, and I'm on a plastic table. Probably better if you used a piece of wood underneath or something to protect the table. But all right, so you can use a clamp. This wire can get pretty hot pretty quickly. I'm just trying to see if I can get a little bit better view. Oops. Sorry about this. The cable for this soldering iron kind of goes every which way and gets tangled up. So just kind of, there we go. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Let it harden. Perfect. Okay. So I'll put that back real quick. And today's video, I am trying to do a recording with a couple GoPros and my regular camera. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully works out pretty well, and I can use this on some other videos too. Give you some different angles. All right, and don't worry if the insulation kind of melts a little bit. It happens. All right, so I need to really untangle this soldering cable here. And there we go. There's a little bit there. And I found that, like, if you just kind of move your arm around, or your cable around a little bit so it's perpendicular. It helps out, but and any excess can be probably filed off. Let's see how that does. We'll give it a good tug, and that one is done. So put this away, and we'll do the other side here in a minute. What I'm going to do is take some more of the denatured alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol, give it a quick clean. Try to get it on the tracks. Make sure any of the excess of the liquid flux didn't get on anything. And that should be good. Okay, let's do the other side. All right. Okay, that should be good. I just measure your wire ahead of time. I've kind of got an idea of how much I need. It's not a bad idea just to measure it. One idea that I had is you can take an old scrap piece of wire if you want, run it from where you're going to where it needs to go, from where it's, where in the track it's going to where you're going to terminate it at, and use that as your kind of measuring stick, if you will, to see what works for you. And I apologize in advance if you hear some noise in the background. That's my son being obnoxiously loud playing video games with his friends. So we will see. Fortunately, my children are not interested in much of this, so at least I get a little bit of peace and quiet here in my train room. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We'll get some tip tinner, put it on. We'll do the red one at first again. Oop, almost forgot. Let's clean the track and then put some let's see, this is going everywhere. Should have wound this up. Sorry about this. It can get a little unwieldy when you got a bunch of weight on these little tracks, like all the wire hanging off. All right, so let's go a little closer in here. Okay, so that's done. Let's do this. This is the red one. So I've turned it around. The red's on the other side, I believe, now this time. And I'll actually just go ahead and put some on the black one too. Just get it on there. Okay. Red one, I'm just going to get some solder on the end of this wire. And then see if I can get this. There we go. And basically what I'll do is I'll just take a file and file off the bottom of the solder where it's kind of bubbled up a bit so it's flat. If you do it pretty quick, you might melt a little bit of the, you can see I melted a little bit of the plastic on the bottom, the sleepers, but give it a good tug and it is done. The next thing you'd want to do is to take a multimeter. I'll do that right now and check your connections. You definitely want to do that before you leave your soldering station, and check to see if it works. I'll give this a whirl here real quick. One good way to test is to just test the 2 leads that you have. Oh, come on. So you just you can test the continuity between black and black and red, and see how that goes. And then that should be a good enough test. I need to clean off the flux. Get a little bit of alcohol in there. Any extra flux, get it off. Okay, and I'll get my multimeter. And on the multimeter, you just want to set it to resistance. So let's see if I can show you here. Anything on resistance, make sure you turn it off if you use it on resistance. I've got it on tone, that way I don't have to look at it. If it tones out, it means I've got a continuity between the two. So what I'm going to do is take my red to my red. And this also guarantees that if you've wired the leads on the right way, that, and I just noticed I did something backwards. We'll have to come back to one of them. Okay, so that one's good. Let me come back to this one real quick. I have wired it backwards as far as where I want the dropper to go. So I'm all one for making mistakes and having all kinds of mess going on here. All right, so what I've done is my lead for my this way you don't want to leave your soldering station before checking things. Turn off the multimeter so you don't drain the battery. I'm just testing the resistance. And basically, I've got my red lead. I want my leads to go towards the inside of the track. So, nothing, just like heating it up. Oh, come on, I'm hitting all kinds of stuff here. Sorry about this. I need to get a little bit better job at mounting my cameras. The camera mount I have for one of my cameras is quite light, and this heavy cable moves it all over the place. It's doing it again. What the heck is going on here? Okay. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, so let's test the resistance now. See if we've got continuity, and we should be good. So turning my voltmeter to beep, audible mode. Makes it a little easier for me. Let me go through here and see if I can get this on camera. So I'm going to test one. First, you want to do is test your multimeter, make sure it's connected. This one's actually getting kind of loose for some reason, so I'll tighten that up. And then I've got my 2 red leads, so test this one to this one. Perfect. I'll test my black lead to my black lead. Perfect. So I have continuity, and we're done. Now it's just going to be a matter of putting the holes in the table and drilling the holes and running the cables and hooking it up, and then I'm done. But for this, the quick video on soldering your dropper wires to your track, I appreciate your time. Please subscribe and hit the little bell to get an alarm whenever I've got a new video out, and look forward to any questions below. Have a great day, and thank you from the Travisdale-Pickmere Railway.